A young man stands in a coffee shop in Milan, Italy. He's watching something that will change his life forever. Not the coffee, the people. They're laughing, connecting, sharing stories. The barista knows their names. This isn't just a transaction, it's community. He flies back to America with a crazy idea. What if coffee shops weren't about coffee? What if they were about belonging? His name was Howard Schultz. He grew up in Brooklyn housing projects with nothing. Today, his vision touches 35,000 locations in 80 countries. Not because he sold better coffee, but because he understood something nobody else did. People are thirsty for connection. 1. The Projects, Brooklyn, New York. 1953. The Bayview Projects, government housing for families who couldn't afford anything better. Howard Schultz grew up in a tiny apartment. His father drove a truck, delivered diapers, worked any job he could find. His mother worked as a receptionist. They weren't just poor, they were one accident away from disaster, and that accident happened. Howard was 7 years old when his father slipped on ice at work, broke his ankle, couldn't work, no health insurance, no workers' compensation, no income. Howard watched his father, a proud man, crumble, watched his mother cry over bills they couldn't pay, watched their family survive on food stamps and government cheese. That image burned itself into Howard's soul. Not just the poverty, but the indignity of it. The way the system treated working people like they were disposable. Most kids from the projects stay in the projects. The statistics are brutal. The odds are stacked against you. But Howard had something. A mother who believed in education and a burning determination to escape. He worked, he studied, he played football well enough to get a scholarship to Northern Michigan University. He was the first person in his family to go to college. But here's what's important. Howard never forgot where he came from. Never forgot that broken ankle. Never forgot what it felt like to have nothing. 2. The Discovery. After college, Howard bounced through sales jobs. He was good at it. Made decent money selling Xerox machines, then kitchen equipment. In 1981, he noticed something strange. A small coffee company in Seattle kept ordering an unusual amount of drip coffee makers. He flew to Seattle to meet them. The company was called Starbucks. 3 guys roasting and selling coffee beans. Howard walked in and something clicked. The smell, the passion, the craft. These guys cared about coffee like artists care about paintings. He begged them to hire him. They didn't want to. He kept pushing. Finally, they made him director of marketing. But the real transformation happened in 1983. Howard went to Milan, Italy for a trade show, and he stumbled into an espresso bar. What he saw changed everything. It wasn't about the coffee, it was about the experience. The barista knew every customer's name. People came in alone and left with friends. It was a gathering place, a community center, a home away from home. The Italians had a phrase for it, the third place. Not home, not work, but a third place where you belonged. Howard had an epiphany. America didn't have this. Americans drank coffee at home or at diners. Fast, functional, isolated. What if he could bring this to America? 3. The Philosophy. Howard rushed back to Seattle with his vision. He told the Starbucks owners, "We need to serve espresso. We need to create gathering places." They said no. "We're coffee roasters, not a restaurant." Howard was devastated, but he couldn't let go of the vision. So in 1985, he left Starbucks, started his own coffee shop called Il Giornale. He borrowed money, maxed out credit cards, risked everything. And this is where his philosophy crystallized. The philosophy that would define everything. We're not in the coffee business serving people. We're in the people business serving coffee. Read that again. People business, not coffee business. Most businesses think, what's our product and who will buy it? Howard thought, what do people need and how can we serve them? People need connection. They need belonging. They need a place where somebody knows their name. Coffee was just the excuse. He trained his baristas to remember names, to ask about your day, to make you feel seen. He created comfortable chairs, warm lighting, music that didn't intrude, Wi-Fi before Wi-Fi was standard. He wasn't building coffee shops. He was building community. 4. The Revolution, 1987. The original Starbucks owners decided to sell. Howard scraped together money and bought it, merged it with Il Giornale. Now he had 6 stores and a vision to transform America. But here's where Howard did something radical for business. He gave health insurance to part-time workers. Part-time. In 1988, that was unheard of. People told him he was crazy. You'll go bankrupt. Why give benefits to part-time baristas? Howard remembered that broken ankle, his father with no insurance, that indignity. He said, if we treat our people right, they'll treat our customers right. Wall Street hated it. Too expensive, too soft, not profitable. But Howard understood. Happy employees create happy customers, and happy customers come back. He called employees partners. He gave them stock options. He paid for their education. And something magical happened. Those baristas cared. They weren't just serving coffee, they were building relationships. Starbucks exploded, from 6 stores to hundreds, then thousands. By 2000, Starbucks was everywhere, a success story beyond imagination. But then, something broke. 5. Losing the soul. Success became a trap. Starbucks grew so fast they lost what made them special. Everything became automated, efficient, corporate. The baristas stopped knowing your name. The coffee became push button. The soul disappeared. By 2008, Starbucks was in crisis. Stock crashed, stores closing, competitors everywhere. Howard had stepped down as CEO, but watching his creation die was unbearable. So in 2008, he did something almost unprecedented. He came back as CEO, and the first thing he did, he closed every Starbucks store in America for one afternoon. 7,100 stores, millions in lost revenue, all to retrain baristas on one thing: how to make people feel valued. Not coffee technique, connection technique. Wall Street called him insane. Investors panicked, but Howard knew they'd lost their way. They'd forgotten they were in the people business. He fired executives who only cared about numbers. He slowed expansion. He focused on quality again, on relationships again, on meaning again, and slowly Starbucks came back. The lesson. Today, Starbucks serves over 100 million customers a week. Howard Schultz is worth billions. But this story isn't really about coffee, or even about business success. It's about something deeper: dignity. Howard grew up watching his father treated like he didn't matter, like he was disposable. So he built a company where everyone matters, where a part-time barista gets health insurance, where your name is remembered, where you're treated like you belong. That's the real genius of, we're in the people business serving coffee. Most companies ask, how do we extract maximum value from our employees? Howard asked, how do we give maximum dignity to our employees? And here's the beautiful paradox. When you treat people with dignity, they create value you can't measure in spreadsheets. Success isn't about having the best product. Starbucks doesn't have the best coffee. They never did. Success is about understanding what people really need. And what people need isn't coffee. It's connection. It's belonging. It's someone who remembers your name and asks how your day was. Howard Schultz proved you can build a global empire on one simple truth. People matter more than profit. When you serve people's souls, not just their wallets, you create something that transcends business. You create meaning. So the question isn't, what are you selling? The question is, who are you serving? And why do they really come to you? Because in the end, every business is a people business. Some just haven't figured it out yet. Howard Schultz figured it out in a coffee shop in Milan. He brought it back to America, and he proved that a boy from the Brooklyn projects, who watched his father break his ankle and lose his dignity, could build a place where everyone feels like they belong. That's not just business. That's beautiful.